But he sounded like over the weekend he's up for this fight, but whether it's through the draft is another story. And this may be the reason why he may not want to go back to the draft, because it's the most compromised draft in the history of the game. This is a lot of good judges' opinions. 10 of them are already linked to a club through academies or father-son. So this is the top 10, starting with the number 1 draft pick, Jamara Ugle-Hagan, who's with the Western Bulldogs. So Eddie's got a ripper there, and Reef McInnes through to the Pies. Obviously, Luke Edwards, the son of Tyson Edwards. So it's a tough year to go to the draft.
Well, we talk about integrity within the competition. The draft is based on that. Has lost its integrity.
I love the father-son, but those Next Generation Academies, for heaven's sake, they're a joke, Ed. Yep. They're a joke.
Yeah, I've said this for the best part of 20 years. Every panel I've sat on...
The Next Gen Academies have only been in for a few years.
Yeah, but I go back to the academies as well. And
also, there's a reason for that. That's developing the game.
But that once we brought in, and Andrew Ireland had the idea from the Sydney Swans and Brisbane of having a bidding system, at least it got realistic. If you go back over the years, the influence of father-sons coming in, we all love it, but it was too much of a win for a team. It skewed competitions for 10 years. Mick Malthouse always says, you get a player who's good like that, you put their name on the board, you don't move it for 250 games.
Ablets, Browns, Cloaks.
All those.
Yeah, but that's the sort of luck of the draw. The Next Gen Academies are just not true. You've got a player running around at the moment who was always going to be a football player.
And guess what? I argued against it, then they make the rule, then I exploit it. It's not even exploiting. He's there in front of us. We're not going to not pick up Isaac Quain.
But doesn't it highlight clubs...
Isaac Heaney, for example.
But doesn't it highlight clubs should invest in players and develop players and put them into the pool? Exactly. As opposed to...
But that's what I've always said.
Not what we're doing, are we? We're developing them if we get them.
I think Sydney and Brisbane and those clubs are different, because Isaac Heaney grew up in an NRL heartland. Isaac Quain was always going to be an AFL footballer, and there are so many of them going around at the moment in the Victorian
John Blakey's
clubs.
son played 300 games for North Melbourne. He was the NGA for Sydney.
Yep.
I mean, there's something wrong.
Well,
my view, get rid of father-son. Do they do it in the NFL and the NBA?
No, you can't get rid of father-son.
Make it
That's a glorious lottery, and we love the romance of it.
Caro, if your son got picked this year, for example, and went to a club that he didn't want to go near, that was in disarray, let's say he was a number 1 player, and he ends up in a place, and he says, hang on a second, 24 other blokes are picking and choosing where they're going. I'm not going. You go to the Supreme Court, you go, bang, there's the end of the draft.
Keep the father-son. Yeah, but that's like a lot in the AFL. Keep the father-son.
But what we've always said is make sure you pay at least appropriate odds for it. Then you make the decision, the recruiter makes the decision.
I can't believe Ross is killing off the father-son, Ross.
Let's get equality in the competition. We've got
don't you love Silvani at Carlton?
There's ice in those
would have been great in black and yellow.
That's terrible.
Would have been great in black and yellow.
You said Silvani at Carlton probably cost his daddy's job.